Excuse me. Hey folks, Brian again. Obviously, same day, same bat channel, same bat time. This one is on my GM musings. Things going through my head as I'm running the scenario, or kicking myself in the butt about and that kind of thing. Okay. Stopping last session where they had just gotten into the open air redstone courtyard before the temple. There are 2 gargoyles in the courtyard. There are 4 statues. 2 of them are gargoyles. Doesn't say what the 2 look like, so I made them all look the same. Made some sense to me, trying to hide, right? So, and they were starting to head that way. Well, stopping the game there kept them from running into gargoyles while they were all down. However, stopping them there impeded their momentum in going through. So when this session started, I had the map out. I had everything they've been through drawn. I was ready to draw all the rest. That kind of stuff was all ready to go. And they start talking about the fact that Savra and Jeffrey are both in single-digit hit points. The Barbarian Half-Orc is a single-digit hit points, or like at 10 or something. It's really, really low. And maybe they need to rethink their plan on what they're going to do. And so they start having a discussion on what they're going to do, which was fine. And they decide, okay, we still need to go through the whole level, make sure there's nobody else here. Because they pretty much cleared it out with that massive fight they had last session. But instead of going through the courtyard, they decided to go through the hallways. Fine. So go through the hallways. These 2 doors go in the scriptorium. This area is the entrance hall. There's the 2 doors going out front. You go through this other hallway. From here, we all went theater of the mind, because while I have a large table, I did last night anyway, using the dining room table. My wife's in Florida, so I got the house to myself. And I had all laid out on this huge dining room table, right? Well, 4 players plus myself, and my screen, which I keep off to the side, but I still have it on the table. These are big guys, and it gets kind of difficult to go ahead and be drawing stuff all the time in between everything that happens. So I just went theater of the mind. Keep it easy. Go through again. There's a door on the south wall, another door on the south wall, a door at the end of the hallway. So they go to the first one, barracks room. Go to the second one, barracks room. But this was the one that had the priest and his guards, and so they found the chest there, and they were able to pick the lock, get it open, and get some money and stuff. And scrolls. Oh, they thought that was great, scrolls. Now, I'm used to playing AD&D, where you would identify a scroll, so you knew what it was. If you actually started to read a scroll, the magic would take over, and you had to make some kind of control. You could do some kind of control thing, see if you could glance at it and see what it's about. Or maybe I'm thinking of a fantasy trip. Could be either or. And so there are ways to find out what a scroll is about without actually casting it, but there's a risk involved. There's nothing in the player's handbook about scrolls saying, yeah, you can read a scroll. Do you want to fire it or not? So I just did not gel with me. So I had to make an Arcana roll. Probably should have done concentration, but I had to make an Arcana roll, see if they could, glance through it, see what it's about, that kind of thing. And all 3 of them were Earth Cult spells from the back of the book, so I had no idea what they did anyway. But I give them some. One was transmute Earth to mud, or transmute Earth, is what it's called in it. It allows you to transmute a certain area of stone. Transmute stone, or just transmute so much stone into mud, or vice versa. So it's pretty easy to tell them that kind of thing, let them know. And then he missed his roll, another one, and there was another one they made, and I told him what it was about, that kind of thing. So I need to grapple with the mechanics of this kind of thing. We get to the next room, well, the room at the end of the hall, which at that point, the Warlock realizes, okay, this is where the Drugar were. This is when we kicked in, because he was starting to recognize where they were. And it's empty. And they turn the hall, and it's a short hallway north that opens into another room, and there's double doors that go to the open courtyard. So they kind of know where they are on the map, because I have those other doors on the courtyard mapped out. But this whole section of the hallway and the monastery has not been mapped out. And so they go in, and this is the chow hall. I forgot the word, the vestry or something, they call it something, but it's a chow hall, right? Tables, stuff on the walls, crockery pots, blah, blah, blah. 2 doors out of here. It's on the north wall. And they go to first one, or actually they send They send the imp invisible to open the door. Now this is kind of like it's not a swinging door. It only swings one way because the guy's coming. Well, maybe it should swing both ways. I didn't think about that. But it opened into the chow hall, which I had. So Aloysius opens the door. Well, there's 4 Sacred Stone monks in the kitchen, making reserves, baking bread, getting things ready for breakfast, and making long-term, foodstuffs kind of stuff, right? So I roll some passive perception to them. One of them notices the door is open, and he looks over at it and goes to investigate. The paladin sets himself up next to the doorway. The druid, who's still a bear, goes back behind the door, so he's out of the way, but still nearby. So the guy looks in, paladin grabs him, pulls him up, and says, "Silence or you're dead." And make a little reaction roll for the guy. These guys are, the cooks, so they're not really that motivated about things. So yeah, okay, whatever. He's not doing anything. Well, at that point, getting jerked out, the other guys see what's going on. So the other guys come to the doorway. The warlock moves up. What am I doing? Sorry, wrong video. Okay, theater of the mind. Oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. I just wasted like 3 or 4 minutes of your time. So we're doing theater of minds. We're moving around. So we're just talking through stuff. You're going through here. They go through the temple, and they get out into the garden. And since part of the map is drawn out, and most of it is not, most of it's in their head, they're getting really confused about where they are and going, is that this door? Is it stairs? Where's this go? Which one? So it's kind of, because they're looking at the map still. I want to know where this door is. Where is it? Where we are. So maybe I should just go ahead and map out next time as we go along. Sorry for the delay. Okay, map drawn out. Okay, in talking with the monks, I learned about the great prophet. So there's a prophet of the Earth Temple there. But they've only been, those monks I ran into were only there for a few months. They didn't run a whole lot. They're cooks and they train. Training's getting beat up by the abbess. Arcane lock. Okay, arcane lock. I touched probably too much of this in my other video on the actual scenario itself, the arcane lock deal. Read it briefly. A lich is not going to cast arcane lock at 2nd level. He's going to cast it at 9th level. There are modifiers for that. It's not just a +10. Okay. Oh, one thing, the spell specifically says it's impassable. And that was something that I was implying previously, but I did not know for a fact. Because Aloysius and Spiderform tried to creep under both of the locked doors. And I let him go so far, and then he stops. He can't get through. Because to me, it's magic. It's not like the lock is magic, or the doors are being reinforced magically. Portal. Okay, so, and again, it doesn't discuss casting 2nd level arcane lock at a higher level, but I improvise and implied stuff. Okay, sleeping armor. There's one point where the party finally gets through checking out the entire level. They're pretty much sure it's clean, except for the 2 doors they can't get through. And so they go back to the kitchen to rest. They're going to go for a long rest, right? Can you sleep in armor? Yes, you can. Do you get a good night's sleep when you rest in armor? No, you don't. I know I better hurry. Okay, so try to look for a nice simple mechanic. You sleep in your armor, you come out with a level of exhaustion. And that's what I have them do, just that simple. And most of them just slept and took the exhaustion. It's just a modifier to to certain rolls. So no issues there with them. But I started thinking, is it different from sleeping in leather armor than it is from sleeping in a chain shirt? It is different from sleeping in plate. Yeah, it is. It's uncomfortable. The more restricted the armor is, the more uncomfortable it is, the less likely you're going to get a full night's sleep. And believe me, I'm seeing a sleep doctor. I know what not getting a full night's sleep is all about. My REM sleep is like this big. I'm not getting nearly enough. And my Mark 3 or level 3 sleeping is really short too. So I get tired really quick. But anyway, I digress, as somebody else says. Something like that. But then I started thinking, so these guys, different levels of armor are there different levels of exhaustion from sleeping in armor. But if you look at the levels of exhaustion, you get to the point where you die. But 0 movement, you're not really going to get that tired sleeping in armor. So I thought first, light armor, level 1 exhaustion, medium armor, 2 levels of exhaustion, heavy armor, 3 levels of exhaustion. So that 3 levels of exhaustion actually starts to affect what you're doing. And I can kind of see that maybe happening, but probably not. So, and then I started thinking, well, maybe a 0 for the light stuff, 1 for medium, and 2 for heavy. But if you look at the description of leather armor, you're talking about kiboli, which is boiled leather, which is very stiff. It's almost like plastic, and it's thick too. For your breastplate and your shoulder, everything else is lesser armor, or lesser leather, lighter leather, softer leather, whatever you want to call it. That's still around your rib cage. It makes it difficult to roll over. It makes it difficult to be comfortable. When you sleep on your back, sleep on your side, shoulders with the pauldrons, that can be difficult. Okay. The Drugar. The 3 Drugar, which I beefed to 4, come up from under the, I'm going to pause for just a second, guys. Hold on. And when I say guys, I mean explicitly a non-gender version, okay? I just mean people. That's why I try to start my thing with folks. Folks is very generic. Anybody can be a folk. Personally, I think girls can be guys too when you're talking about bundle of people. But anyway, the Drugar. Okay, so the Drugar, and this gets into the whole sleeping thing because they came in after 6 hours of their long rest. So the Drugar come up from underneath because the night's done and they're going to go rest, well, eat and rest, right? So they come up and as soon as you get to the top of the stairwell, there was a massive battle in the hallway right there. There's got to be blood everywhere. So they start looking around. They check out the dojo, and that's where they stuffed all the bodies. So they see everybody's dead. Holy cow, what's going on? So they start sneaking around, trying to find out. The lead guy goes invisible. The other guys go large. They go walking down the hallway, and they finally get to the kitchen because they get into the cafeteria or the chow hall, whatever you call it, and there's tables. So they got to move stuff around, and the invisible guy goes and he checks the door because they're going through, see what's going on. Well, the druid is up, Aloysius is up. I think it's Jeffrey. Jeffrey is up. So they're all up. The druid makes a perception roll on the door open, and he immediately casts entanglement centered on the door. Now, I use meter hexes instead of 5-foot squares or 5-foot hexes for a number of reasons. But the mechanics in 5th edition are designed for 5-foot hexes. So in order to hit so many people, your range has to be so large. So while entanglement is a 20-foot square, 20-foot square, which would be 4 guys by 4 guys, with my meter hexes, that's 6 guys by 6 guys. And I shrink my maps down because people don't have 10-foot hallways. This room I'm in is probably 10 foot wide. Huge, right? Most hallways are like small hallways of 3, roughly 3 feet. Large hallways about 5. I make it 6. I do 2 meter hallways, right? So all these 10-foot hallways are 2 meter hallways to me. So I have to shrink everything down, right? So if I did a 20 feet by 20-foot square, it would encompass nearly the entire kitchen and nearly the entire, about half the chow hall, and also be outside. Huge. So just some quick things in my head and just adjusted it. It's not 20 feet by 20 feet. It's 4 hexes by 4 hexes. I think that's what I ended up doing. 4 hexes by 4 hexes. So I converted 5 feet to 3 feet and did that kind of stuff. So as I kind of dotted it out, so they would know where it is, right? Because the lines are coming up, you can see it. Well, the Drew almost went there again. Almost went there. Okay. So Drugar are there, and they end up killing the first guy, but the other 2 say, "Hey, who are you guys? What are you doing here? What do you want?" So there's some discussion going on. The Drugar, I had envisioned as just being, the guards. They're hired guards, right? Thankfully, I guess. Luckily, in the book, it says that they are guard mercenaries. I think you got a good deal here with the Earth Cult. Good to go. Okay, these guys have no dog in this fight. They just want to get their buddy who you killed and get out of town. Because they saw what they did with everybody else, and they just ran into them, and they said all this happened real sudden, right? Their buddy dies in one round. Okay, so they don't want anything. So they do some discussion on Weregild, and the party says, hey, can you draw us a map of the mines, and we'll let you go. Okay, so they do a real quick drawing of the map of the mines, and they take their buddy. Weregild was another deal. One of the players had mentioned about 30 gold pieces for a skilled worker or something like that. I'm thinking 30 gold pieces is a month's worth of living wages. This was a hired mercenary. He's worth much more than that. I'll probably have to go do some digging in my RuneQuest stuff to find out what the Weregild there is and try to do a conversion back. But anyway, he came back with a counter proposal of 100 gold. One of the money pouches they had found in a couple different rooms they ransacked had 120 gold coins in it. They tossed it to him. The Drugar drew out the map, grabbed their buddy, and left. Okay. I was really concerned when I was prepping for this session, which was not very much prep because I've been busy all week. I've actually got a game with a buddy of mine from high school and college. I'm going to Skype into their game. They're in Washington tonight. It's a RuneQuest 3 based science fiction game, so it'll be kind of cool. But anyway, so I've been working with him. I get my PC ready most nights this week. So I have a chance to do a whole lot of prep. But I was really concerned about the party getting through the mines, because the only thing the mines really are the Orog and the Ogre, which they should probably be able to take pretty well. But anyway, and getting all the way down the temple. And so I spent 3 hours yesterday transitioning all of the room encounters for the temple onto my Prince of the Apocalypse workbook in Excel spreadsheets, right? Trying to clean it up, get all the random stats, all the things that I do, right? Barely got done in time. In fact, I'm not even completely finished. There's like one more room. There's like some kind of guardian or something that, like a stone golem or something that I haven't gotten to yet. Oh, and there's also the earth priest with his black ooze. Anyway, so I got almost finished. I'm looking at my clock. It's 7:14. Supposed to start at 7:30. They're supposed to show up any time before that. So I expect the guys to start walking through the door. And I haven't even started drawing on my map yet. So that was one of those things, just hurry, get things. Could I have just bypassed all that and done with the averages? Yeah, I could have, but that's not me. Okay, workbook. Really made it. But I didn't get it printed off. So I had to have my laptop up. And I keep my laptop up because I have pictures and stuff on it anyway. But I had to leave it up with the spreadsheet. So once they got to the temple, I'd have the spreadsheet stuff for the temple denizens there, right? So that was not a pain, but it's difficult when you're first two guys, you got to go scroll down to the next room kind of thing, and just lots of up and down kind of stuff was happening because of what happened with the encounter. That was a little iffy. But if I had to print it out, like just two sheets, I just lay them out flat next to each other. Okay. There was a point, I should have mentioned this earlier. There was a point when the party went down and they were talking with, what's his name, Jurel? Well, the Orogs and the Ogre, right? And they're doing their little spiel. And Jurel offers to let Jurel the Ogre lead them to where the temple entrance is. They can't go with them because they've got to guard the prisoners. And the paladin gets this great idea. What if we get the Orog to split up? We can take them out now. And so he says something about there still might be air cultists up there. They had left Jeffrey and Shavra. Two reasons. One, they really want to protect Shavra. They're trying to get her back to Waterdeep to turn her into her parents. That's part of the paladin's side quest thing, right? And for me, it takes two NPCs out, right? So Shavra and Jeffrey are upstairs. They told him to wait in one of the rooms And Jeffrey's kind of thinking about staying in the entryway so I can keep an eye on anybody coming up, that kind of thing. So they're upstairs. And the paladin spills out, why don't you send people upstairs? There might be air cultists still up there. We all stop. The warlock looks at me and goes, Jeffrey, shot forever up there. And I'm just trying to hold my breath as I'm drawing their map for them, right? And then they start talking to each other, PC to, or player to player, going, we just gave him all kinds of ideas, didn't we? We're going to come back and Sharper's dead. Talking about that kind of stuff going. And now, at first, Jurl, the way they write him in the book, would he really caught on to that? Maybe, maybe not. It might be Urkel up there and nudge him in the corner, go on what's on. But as I think about it, he should be. He should be suspicious of anybody come down, even though they've got the symbol, who is not accompanied by monks. So that's my plan. They're going to split. They're going to go upstairs, find Jeff and Shower. I got to figure out what's going to happen with there, and then they're going to follow these guys down to the temple. They'll leave the ogre up here to beat up on the slaves, keep them out of the way. Okay. Previous session, I talked about the manticore coming down and hitting the griffins or hippogriffs, and how there should be a mechanic for doing that. Well, there's a knockback mechanic, same mechanics as grappling, by the way. Athletics against athletics or acrobatics, right? And so that's what I did. They ran to gargoyles in the temple. There's some gargoyles watching Stone Bridge. So they ran to gargoyles on the Stone Bridge. A couple guys come out, they swoop down, they try and do this knockback thing. And they actually rolled pretty good, but the players rolled better, so they get out of the way. Later on, as the rest of the party's coming across, there's 3 at the end, they're still on the bridge, 3 more come, well, 3 of them, there's only 3, come down and try and do the knockback again. They rolled badly, so they just completely missed. But in reading about this knockback rules, if you've got 2 attacks, you can use 1 attack for the knockback and another to actually attack. So these gargoyles should have gotten a swipe or a bite. I would have done the claw, although a bite for a knockback doesn't make any sense to me. But they would have made an attack as doing, but in the same sense as they're swooping by, the PC should get opportunity attacks as well. So kind of a wash, but something to remember. Okay, there's a part where the party is fighting and there are arrow slits in the room that they're in. Arrow slits are designed that you can take a pretty decent angle and cover a wide range where there's only this little space that they can shoot in through at you, right? Is this 3/4 cover? No, it's more than 3/4 cover. So I handled it as completely obscured. Not even trying to shoot in at them, they didn't. But when they're fighting, the gargoyles came back and were fighting them. Once they got inside the temple, the gargoyles attacked from the rear. So there's this fighting going on. And there are 2 guard posts for these 2 arrow slits, right? But they're not paying attention. They know the gargoyles are out there. One side is paying more attention than the other. So after a couple rounds, I have the one side's kind of paying attention. They notice noise, people fighting, come and investigate. They've got crossbows. They got 2 crossbows. They can only shoot 1 through a arrow slit at a time. So could he kneel and stand? Maybe. But I probably should have done that. I really should have done that now that I think about it. But anyway, so crossbows, arrow slits, start shooting to the back of people. The rogue gets hit in the back, he takes off. The druid's a bear, he backs out of the way. The other guys are fighting with the last 2 gargoyles, and crossbows in the back. Advantage every time, So they were pinging at the huge, half-orc barbarian. They got a little upset. Well, the barbarian got a little upset about, can they see me at the corner, coverage, that kind of thing. Now I think about it, he may have gotten half coverage because of the corner of the room, because it went to an entryway. That's only +2 armor class, so not too much. Timing and transition. Same incident. They finally kill the gargoyle, right? And they move into the next room. And I have, okay, you go to the next room, that's fine. 9 meters, guys. 9 meters. 9 hexes. Where are you? Because I'm thinking in my head, the guys with the crossbows still have buddies who are doing things who are coming into this room. And they're thinking, we got through that combat. We can go to 1 minute rounds now. And one of the PCs seemed to get a little irritated with that because he's having Aloysius, I'm going to say Aloysius down the hall. Aloysius is investigating that campsite you guys just went to. One turn at a time. And then he starts saying, well, we've got time. Things are still happening pretty quick. The other stuff is happening outside your purview. We have not gone, and I didn't say this, but I should have. We have not gone to 1 minute rounds. We are still in melee. That would have kept them thinking about something's coming. But, you know, those are thoughts I've run around my brain about how I could play better and how I applied mechanics and maybe should have applied mechanics. Till next time, guys, have fun gaming.